right now the priority is me. And I'm okay with that because I want to be better for all these people.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Business Briefs, where you get bite-sized legal and business strategies and tips right at your computer or your iPad or your phone, wherever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I have the photographer extraordinaire and a person that I had such a great opportunity to meet back in March of 2023 at the Reset conference, Sabrina Gebhardt. She was one of the educators at this conference. I loved what she had to speak about, and which we can kind of talk about today as well. And she, on top of that, is a phenomenal photographer. So welcome, Sabrina, to Business Briefs.
Hey, thank you. I'm so excited to take this conversation a step further. And this is the perfect example of why I love in-person events so much.
Oh, gosh.
Like meeting people and making new friends and then connecting and then getting to reconnect. It makes my heart so happy. We sit in our little office at our desk by ourselves for so much that this is such a joy. So I'm really, really glad to be here.
I agree with you. I was just chatting with another friend earlier today about conferences. And I said, there's certain conferences you go to, especially virtual, like there's zero connection aside from just listening and learning, but you don't really connect. And the networking is such a huge part of a conference. There's nothing parallel to that. Like, it's so awesome. And I'm just so glad that I was able to connect with you and, have like our funny jokes through dinner and lunch and breakfast or whatever. But it was really nice. But you also gave a really heartwarming, educational, inspiring, a session as well. And we'll get into that in just a second, but tell us, what do you do?
Okay, so I wear two hats in my business. I am a photographer of 12 and a half years. I photograph young families and newborns in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I love that. It fills my soul creatively, and it does give me a piece of connection with longtime clients and families and stuff. And I get to be kind of an intimate part of capturing their memories. And that is such a joy. And then I'm also a business coach. So I have a mastermind and a membership and a course, and I speak at events like Reset Conference. And I love inspiring women to really build the business of their dreams instead of feeling like they're stuck in this box of what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And my coaching style is pretty unique because I love to blend personal development with business development. Yeah. I really lean into the fact that there's a lot of hard work involved, and it's not just like know your numbers and know how to market and run your systems, but there's also this other stuff on the other side of, well, why are you struggling that? And what's beneath the surface? And let's kind of unpack those things. And so that has been such a joy to lean into this new role in my business as well.
Gosh, and I know that you're really good at it because I walked away from your session feeling very inspired and also feeling that you poured a lot of education into me about my business as well. What kind of businesses do you serve?
So I mostly educate other photographers, but I do have, like right now, I have a one-on-one coaching client and she's not a photographer. So I will say female creative entrepreneurs.
I love that. And then why did you start getting into the coaching space?
So I'm going to be really honest here. I really did not think I was worthy and capable of that for a long time. And it took a lot of people kind of planting that seed. So for probably 2 years, on a consistent monthly basis, I would get DMs and emails from people that follow me on Instagram. Do you mentor? Do you offer mentoring? Can I learn from you? Can I, and I just always pushed back and thought, I can't teach you. I'm not good enough. I'm not at this level. I don't know what I'm doing. If I try and teach somebody, they're going to see behind the curtain that I have no clue, And so I really pushed back on that for a long time. And then just one day it kind of clicked and I realized, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm far enough ahead. I'm going to try this. And so I kind of dipped my toe in one person at a time in a one-on-one capacity and almost instantly realized, oh my gosh, I love this. Mm-hmm. And it has grown and evolved over the years. I stepped into the online education space in 2020 when everybody else did.
Pivot.
Yeah. And it's been really fun. It's been really, really fun. So I kind of got pushed into it, I guess, is
Yeah.
what you'll say. Yeah.
That's awesome. You got bumped into this whole online space when
Yeah.
you called it, right? We didn't
Yeah.
realize we could have conversations like this and record
Yeah.
and meet people. I mean, I didn't realize it that I could globally connect with everybody via Zoom, which was such a gift. And
Exactly.
while we were talking earlier about, real in life conferences, but Zoom has given us so many other gifts as well and opportunities that we probably didn't realize we even had at our fingertips. But, while you found that and, you kind of shifted into that space of being a business coach, what are some problems that you were solving on a regular basis with some of your clients? Like, what are some of the big things that you keep seeing happening?
Yeah. So in the beginning, with the first, I don't know, 10 or 20 women that I one-on-one mentored with, it really was the same thing over and over again.
Mm.
It was, how do I get clients that want what I want and not just think they can hire a general photographer to like do everything, right?
Yeah.
How do I get clients who want the kind of images that I want to create? How do I find that alignment? So there was a little bit of the alignment, there was a little bit of the marketing. Everybody struggles with pricing for profitability, so that's always a thing. And so it was really taking women who had already stepped into photography. They already knew how to photograph, they already knew how to edit, they kind of knew how to work with clients and have a workflow there. But what they had created wasn't actually what they wanted, and it wasn't fulfilling them in that way. And so it was kind of taking what they built, refining it a little bit, and then helping them pivot into exactly what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it started to be. And then over the years, as I've been coaching, there is still a lot of that involved. But like I said, now there's all this personal development stuff too, because part of my story is going through a lot of that work myself and seeing how much stronger my business was on the other side of it has made me implement that as part of my teaching process and really working on the why behind the struggles.
Yeah. I like that you say that behind the scenes, you're also the struggles, but then you evolved and that you can see the impact on your business too. I think a lot of times as business owners or persons of expertise, you're like, gosh, why would someone want to come to me? I'm already like dealing and struggling with certain things too. And I feel like we're always learning, we're always evolving. Earlier you had said, well, why would someone want to talk to me? Because I don't have all of this stuff figured out either. And then how do you overcome that thought process?
Yeah, it really was a matter of realizing that I don't have to be the end all be all expert. I just have to be far enough ahead of them to show them how to get to where I am.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about being the utmost expert in the whole wide world. I don't have to be the one that knows everything, right? I
Yeah.
just have to be a leader and far enough ahead on the path that I can show them the way.
Yeah. I love that because I think a lot of times we all stop ourselves from growing and expanding because we feel like we need to know it all. And I know I struggled with that when I first started my practice because, again, people come to you and ask you about bankruptcy or family law, and you're like, I don't do that. I don't know. But then you're considered the experts. It's hard to say, I don't know. But it actually is
Right.
very powerful when you're able to say it, say, I don't know, but I'll research and get back to you if you want to. If not, then you're like,
Yeah.
I can refer you to someone else who can do this. Now, with that being said, though, the general photographer concept, I think there's also this photography is the world of the unknown for people who are not in the world of photography, right? Because
Right.
now with the iPhone, everyone thinks they're a photographer and it's easy. And quite frankly, it's not. None of it is. How do you help others who are non-photographers change that perspective towards photography? Especially even like when, you get people to take photographs of you. I know that the photograph is owned by the photographer, but most people are like, I own it all. I can do whatever I want. And that becomes a point of contention.
Yeah. Yeah. So just like you kind of alluded to a minute ago, when you said people ask you questions about all these kinds of law that you don't do, it's all about educating people. And it's the same thing with photographers. I will get an email about, will you come photograph this event, this birthday party, this wedding, do these headshots, none of which I do. But people who are not photographers think that a photographer takes photos of
Yeah.
anything that I want them to. And while historically, if we look back 50 years, 100 years, that was the case, that is not the case anymore, right? Everybody has their niche. Everybody has what they really want to focus on. And that's a beautiful thing because I can do just what I love and let somebody else do what they love. But when we get those inquiries, it's about laying out the expectations and educating the people, right? Like, thank you so much for your inquiry. I actually don't photograph that subject matter or whatever. And here's a list of people that do that I would recommend, and sending them referrals, right? Or educating them in the booking process that when you get this gallery of images, in the contract, like, I own them and you can't do whatever you want with them. You can print them, you can put them on products, you cannot put them on a billboard, right? That's an extra fee. You cannot submit them to a contest, right? And so it's just about over communicating. I am such an over communicator. I want everybody to know what's coming next, what to expect. If I can answer all of the questions without anybody actually asking the questions, I feel like I've done my job really well.
Yeah, I really like that you do over communicate, because I think a lot of times business owners, we forget to do that. And or we'll just hand a contract and be like, read it, let us know, sign it by tomorrow. Like, that's not how this works. And so that's so funny. I know that you were talking about personal development also, and something that you have been working on as well. And actually, you shed light onto that during the conversation that you had with your session. Could you talk a little bit more about that with us?
Yeah. So I'll give you the shortened version, but in a 6-month window back in, let's see, late 2018, early 2019, in the 6-month window, I had an emergency surgery that was obviously unexpected. I lost somebody that I loved very dearly. I was trapped in Hurricane Harvey for 7 days. We sold a house, bought a house, moved out of that house, renovated the house, moved back into the house, and then I lost somebody else unexpectedly, all within 6 months. Also, those 6 months included the holiday season, all of my kids' birthdays, right? So it was a lot. And after going through that experience, I realized it took me about 6 more months after that, but when I realized that I was actually really struggling and I was not okay, and I'd been going through the motions. And that realization was frightening, but it was also a wake up call to the fact that I'm not taking care of myself mentally, physically. I don't have enough time for myself. I am overscheduled, overcommitted. And so for the next year plus, it was, what do we need to do to take care of Sabrina and get her back to baseline? And it involved literally everything you can think of, right? Therapy, a naturopath, diet changes, physical changes. Like it was all the things. It felt very indulgent at the time, but my husband and I knew that this is absolutely necessary. We have got to get you back to baseline. And going through that process and working through all the things that I realized I needed that I wasn't allowing myself to have as a woman, as a mom, as a business owner, totally changed the way I view everything and the way that I run my life and my business going forward. And like I said earlier, those changes have been so positive that now I'm teaching the value of these things to everybody that I coach, because I don't want anybody to get to where I got to. Right. I want to help them avoid that if possible.
Right. And so the changes that you made were pretty dramatic and radical. And when you made those changes, though, did you see like results right away, or did it take time for those results to manifest?
Yeah. So when you are in that, like the depths of depression and you're trying to work your way out of it, it takes a little time to get going. You can kind of see the light because you're like, okay, now I'm with a therapist and now I'm doing these things. This is going to get better, but it's definitely not overnight. But you get to a point where you kind of, the weight is lighter and you feel like, okay, I'm still doing the work. I'm still working for things, but like I can participate in my life and in my business again and enjoy things. And I'm getting there. Right. From there, it is a matter of staying consistent when you don't think you need to be consistent. Because that's the thing, is we all get to a really great place and we're like, I'm doing so good. I feel better than I've ever felt. Mentally, I'm better. I'm inspired. I've been great with my kids and my partner. It's okay if I skip my walk today, or I cancel that therapy appointment, or I don't do it. And then it's the slow unravel, right?
Yeah.
And so it does take some work on the front end, but then it's being willing to stay consistent and taking care of yourself, even when you're doing great, especially when you're doing great.
Yeah. That is so true, because that can completely derail you. The small little, and it's okay to show yourself grace when needed, but keep
Yes.
that derailment consistent is going to spiral you back down into that space maybe again, or something that's negative.
Yeah.
And, I know the direct correlation between being healthy here and then having a healthy home and healthy business, and they're all integrated with one another. Can you go deeper into that and say, like, you're helping one of your clients? How do you walk through that process with them?
Yeah. So I think the easiest way to describe it would be to describe what it was like when I was not healthy, because then you can see the opposite, right? So when I was not doing well, I realized that with my clients, I had completely been phoning it in the whole process. I was going through the motions at sessions. I was not creating work that I was proud of. It was all super mediocre and not what people would expect from me, right? They hired me for this level and they were getting this level. And I was meeting deadlines and I was serving people, but it was all just meh. I wasn't having great conversations with people at sessions. I mean, when I work with my clients at sessions, we're like this, like we talk about stuff and not just like the weather, but like, what was your birth experience like? And what is your toddler struggling with these days? I mean, like we have real heartfelt conversations, and I wasn't capable of doing any of that. Show up, photograph the session, go through the motion, don't look for any extra moments, don't go above and beyond, go home. It was all just very procedural. There was no passion behind it.
Right.
And, I would get new inquiries and I just didn't care. And I didn't care to do any of the behind the scenes business stuff. It was literally just like, here's the bare minimum. Okay. And that's what it felt like. And that is not normal for me. Right. I am normally very connection driven. And I had lost all of that. I'd lost the spark and everything. And so that's what it was like when I was in the bad place, right? But now that I am healthy and have created more boundaries and time and space in my business, I have all that passion again. I'm not shooting so much that I'm totally burnt out. I get to a session and I cannot wait to create. I cannot wait to see what I find, right? I cannot wait to linger and have longer conversations with mom or dad or engaging with the kids. I cannot wait to come home and get a sneak peek and share it with them and text with mom about, oh my gosh, I can't believe you captured that. Like I'm really able to lean into the connection part and the relationship part of my business so that I'm truly serving people and not just with the photos, right? It's not just the like photos and the exchange of money, but it's also, I have relationships with these women that go beyond our session. I can't tell you how many times a mom texts me and says, you mentioned this book or this business or this thing that helped you with XYZ. Can you share it with me? And it's taking that relationship, but I'm not capable of that unless I am running from a place of boundaries and support, right? And a healthy space.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And in order to even take that first step towards a healthier life, a healthier mindset, it's hard. It's not always easy. And if the person that's listening today that is maybe in that space or close to being in that space, what would you say to encourage them to take that first step? Or what is the first thing that you would have them do?
Yeah. So the first step is recognizing and acknowledging. That's the first step of everything, right? It's recognizing and acknowledging that like, I'm not doing okay and something has to change.
Yeah.
Because I feel like once you acknowledge that, and even better yet, once you can say it out loud to somebody else, a partner, a best friend, a parent, whatever, the weight starts to be lifted because it's not just in the dark anymore. It's not just something you're carrying, right? All of a sudden it's out there. And so that's step one. And then realizing that taking care of yourself, especially if you're borderline in that space and you're really going to have to climb out of it, it takes actual time in your calendar. You're going to have to pull back from things to make this a priority, right? Because I imagine you're probably already overcommitted and that's part of the problem. You're going to have to find time to see a therapist. You're going to have to find time for self-care. You're going to have to let yourself go to bed earlier. All of those are hours out of your day that you're going to have to find from somewhere else. So being willing to pull back from your commitments, maybe it's paying clients, maybe it's volunteer commitments, maybe it's getting support with your kids or whatever that looks like, but doing the work to find the time and then sticking to that priority because we're so busy.
Mm.
It's so easy to think that like, I mean, I said I was going to go have lunch with my kid and volunteer in the library. I can't pull back on that so that I can go work out or so that I can sleep or so that I can go see a therapist because it feels frivolous.
Mm-hmm.
But taking care of yourself is not frivolous because nothing else functions,
Yeah.
you know, and it needs to be treated with such urgency and such care that reprioritizing your commitments is that important so that you can get back to baseline, you know?
Yeah. I think the key word that you just said is frivolous. A lot of times, even me, where I feel like I have a pretty good alignment right now, but there are seasons, even in the year, where you're just like, I called May Looney Tuneville for me because it is really crazy. And you were calling it May-cember or something, right?
December.
Because it is there. It is like for people who have kids, it is like crazy time right now. And a lot of things are added to the schedule that you're like, how did this even happen? But knowing the season is crazy, but you have to take that time out, even if it's just 10 minutes or 30 minutes of that day. And it doesn't have to be the same every single day either. It can look differently, but something that brings you joy, even if it's just playing a game on your phone for
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard for busy female entrepreneurs, moms to really allow that reprioritization and to allow themselves the space to do things that are just for them
Yeah.
because it feels like we're supposed to be taking care of everybody else all the time and saying yes to everybody else, whether it's clients or kids or partners or whatever. And so really having that mindset shift of right now, the priority is me. And I'm okay with that because I want to be better for all these people. I want to be able to serve people better. I want to be able to wear all the hats better. So right now, for the next season, whatever that looks like, I'm the priority.
Yeah. And, while talking to you, I also feel that surrounding yourself with women who are doing that also normalizes it and makes it
Yeah.
seem like, yeah, this is a thing and you can do it all. Meaning you can run a business, you can be the mom, and you can take care of yourself. You just have to manage your time in a way where you can put everything in the right time frame for yourself.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and it's inspiring to be around women like that, like to be around someone like even if you're going to your child's, baseball game, like, there are a lot of moms there too. And just seeing some of them, you realize that, gosh, they really take good care of themselves and they're like running crazy businesses. Why
Yeah.
can I not do that?
Right. Exactly. It does need to be normalized. And I mean, that's the reason why it's such the heart behind how I coach women, because I want them to know this is not an either or situation. It is an and both. You
Mhm.
can have this and this at the same time. And that's what I want for everybody. I want women to have creative and passionate and profitable businesses that fulfill them, but also have creative, passionate, beautiful lives and be healthy, right? I want them to have that beautiful, magical unicorn that everybody thinks is not really achievable. It is.
And you give such a wholesome approach to it. Plus, you have personal experience. It's really relatable. And also, you're not just speaking just to speak. Like there is actual experience from the beginning to end from you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you were saying earlier, oh, what do I have? But that's exactly it. You have the experience to share. And, just recapping what you said earlier, it's not about me giving perfect expertise advice, but it's more about getting you to this place where I am. Because where you are, you're also growing ahead from there too.
Right. And we're always like the bar is always raised,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm still learning. I still have coaches. I still want to keep going. And so what I offer and how I teach is going to continue to morph and change too,
Yeah. Man, I love your energy. I love having these conversations with you. And so when things are a little chaotic for you now, what is your anchor? What holds you steady?
Yeah. So I am spiritual. I'm a Christian and I also am really anchored. It's funny. I would say my family, but it's really my husband. We really, whatever, that's a whole nother conversation, but he's my anchor. And I also try and have a quiet time and spend time in my Bible every day just to remind myself that, there's more than just me. And there's something pulling me and guiding me and leading me to purpose. And I'm right where I need to be. And that is a constant reminder, because even though I'm sitting over here saying, here's my experience with self-care and oh, I take such good care of myself, things still get crazy. I
Yeah.
still have weeks and times and seasons where I feel like I'm losing my marbles, that's life. But I have all these practices in my back pocket now, and I know what I need and how to have like a reset for myself. But there are certain things that I do every day. Like I said,
Yeah.
I have a quiet time every day. I try and work out every day. I drink a ton of water. I see a therapist on a regular basis. Like I try and keep those things happening regularly so that it makes the crazy times less, like they're not constantly coming at me. That is not the norm.
Right, right. And you've given us great tools for our own back pocket while talking to you. And just right now, just a recap of all the things that you do. And I firmly believe in pretty much everything, actually everything that you've said. I completely align with it as well. So thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And like I said earlier, you've given us so much to think about and also to start, whatever that small thing might be, whether it's a 10-minute walk, drinking more water during the day, calling a therapist, someone you trust. It doesn't even have to be a therapist. It could be somebody you trust and can confide in, and just sharing your heart and alleviating yourself as well. There's just so many things that we could do and just start the process. So thank you so much for that. Alignment is everything. How can someone connect with you? Where can they say hello to you?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time on Instagram. I have a very long handle. I'm so sorry. I'm sure you'll have a link, but
I will.
it's at Sabrina Gebhart Photography. I'm there most days. And, I love to connect. I love to voice DM. Do you like to voice DM
I do.
people? Okay, I do too. If somebody sends me a question or a hello, I'm immediately talking to them. So if that freaks you out, just know that I'm going to voice DM you. But yeah, I love to spend time on Instagram and share, what's going on in the business, but also life as a mom and behind the scenes and travel and all that kind of fun stuff too.
Oh, nice. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm going to have all your contacts and everything in the show notes. And so anybody can reach out to you. And I would definitely follow you because you have a great Instagram page as well. It's really nice. But more than that, I think your energy and all the advice that you have is also so beneficial. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. I've loved it.
Yes.